Josh Alexander says he's going to undergo knee surgery next Wednesday and he will be out indefinitely. So he posted a video message from his car earlier today saying he'd just gotten the update from his surgeon. So surgery for him on Wednesday. This goes back to the injury he suffered on Wednesday of last week in Fresno when they were taping Collision that went out last Sunday with the Slam Dunk Sunday special. He was in that trios match teaming with Konosuke Takeshita and El Clon against Mystico, Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. And if you saw the match, it looked like the injury happened when he got his knees up to block Bailey's standing moonsault. He crawled over to tag out. And that's basically all we saw. People in attendance did have some stills and some video of him being helped to the back. The injury wasn't acknowledged on the broadcast. So that's the situation. Surgery for Josh, and he doesn't know how long he'll be out for. And where it just feels like really bad timing for Alexander, because I feel he was beginning to establish himself in the AEW mix, which is not a easy thing to do with that roster and within the Don Callis family especially, which is massive, of course.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I don't know if I want to like use this to cite any sort of example of like this style, the very high demands of this style in particular in AEW that like has like created this, what seems like, to be an endless slew of injuries, but like people get injured really doing anything. I try to remind myself of that, whenever I hear about things like this. And like, this was relatively routine, blocking what, like, the Ultimate Impact with the knees. Like, again, you could maybe consider this a freak accident, but maybe there's something to be said about wear and tear, for a guy who works as hard as Josh Alexander, of course, somebody with previous knee injury history as well. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. And you kind of see it in this video. I'm sure it was not easy for him to record. Awful, I'm sure, for him to hear the news. Like you mentioned, Neil, like to gain airtime and to just even gain some spot in the viewers' minds is so incredibly competitive in AEW, in the mid card in particular. When you're somebody who, yes, like I think a lot of people know and respect him, but I would say he's hardly established as a main guy in AEW at all. He's mid-tier guy, He's I would say maybe like you could argue one of the standouts of the Don Callis family. He's again mid-tier, somebody maybe on the brink of like breaking out to maybe that Takeshita level at some point, but he's not there yet. And any sort of like cut in momentum is devastating, especially for like, him right now suggesting that he doesn't know what timeline he'll be back. What sort of like spot, whether or not there'll be a Don Callis family at all for him to return to. So many unknowns. But we can look at like maybe the silver lining here. He did get, I would say a pretty good run out of it so far. Got some good talking roles. Played a heel character that I think managed to break out from like the pack in the Don Callis family because he's one of the few to actually get promo time. And Can Talk has shown that. Got a match with Kenny Omega, which was a dream of his. So
it feels like he's one of the guys that is respected by the rest of the roster. And I think that Kenny wouldn't, Kenny's not a booker, but he probably doesn't, he probably has a say in who he wrestles and who he wants to wrestle. So I think that was one of the moments where I felt that Josh was beginning to step up or stand out a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it's absolutely rotten luck for him. And it feels like it's happened just when he was on the cusp of maybe settling into a bit of a run. So it's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So hopefully he's back soon and better than ever. But honestly, like, how old is he right now? How old is Josh Alexander?
I'm not sure.
Let's see a quick look up. Google says 38. So, listen, like he could be coming back at the age of 40, which, is, I mean, as you get older in age, it's a lot harder to come back from injuries quickly. But of course, he's also a different type of athlete than many of us. So hope for a speedy recovery from him and that he comes back with renewed vigor,
The Post Wrestling Cafe is your one-stop shop for all of the coverage that Post Wrestling has to offer. 2 big rewind-aways this month with WWF Insurrection from May of 2002. This UK-only pay-per-view featured the Raw brand going overseas and ending with the infamous plane ride from hell. Then we're going to take a look at AWA's Super Sunday from April of 1983. A new edition of Talk Can Be Yours, plus MCU Later, Book Club, and coverage of UFC 326, TNA Sacrifice, and of course, XL editions of Rewind a Raw, Dynamite, and SmackDown with all the news of the day. Join now at postwrestlingcafe.com.